109-year-old Mother Fletcher, as she's known, is one of only 2 people alive who remember firsthand what the 1921 Tulsa race massacre was like, sitting with us alongside her grandson and niece. How do you think your life would have been different if this had not happened?
I would have got an education to where I could get a better job, like especially being a nurse.
On Viola Fletcher's 109th birthday, she was back in court fighting a new motion to dismiss the case.
I didn't feel very nice about it, but I'm willing to do that again, you know.
And she's being tested on that, because a few months later, the case was dismissed.
And we're hoping this court will give us the opportunity to prove our case.
Back in 2022 was when a judge initially allowed part of their case to move forward.
I think we should get justice, to be fair. I think the court should feel the same way.
When I went to high school, I knew about the Trail of Tears, but Greenwood was never mentioned. And so I think regardless of what happens, that you're all to be commended for making sure that that will never happen again, that it will be in the history books.
Important is because 103 years after that devastation that took place in the nation, it still struggles with the acknowledgement with the past of the violence of Black Americans that they face in the hands of white citizens. And this is why when they say racism doesn't still exist, I know that they're a big fat liar, because it definitely still exists.
They did rebuild after the 1921 massacre, and then this highway, built right through the heart of the district as part of federal highway acts of the 60s, dealt it a final blow.
The highway separated the business district from traffic flow, from access.
What does this highway represent?
The second destruction of Black Wall Street.
For us, or that's something that my grandma and them had to go through. But if they didn't fight for these different laws and for us to vote and the Black political power, predominantly Black communities and businesses with schools, and they were thriving. So the mob violence contributed to the KKK that informed mass incarceration and the conviction of leasing programs that suppressed Black people who had gained their freedom after the centuries of being in slavery. The reason why that's important because that was considered the Black Wall Street. They were setting up industries and places outside of Chicago and Arkansas and places like that that had took predominantly Black communities and made them into very well sustainable areas for Black people to thrive and not just get by but get ahead. And as the replacement thing they're talking about now is simply because they feel like if any before May 31st of 1921, Tulsa Black business district known as Greenwood, it had flourished despite the segregation. It was boasted of several restaurants, theaters, clothing shop, hotels. Dubbed the Black Wall Street, was the economic powerhouse for Black Americans at that time. Now, it was the reason why everything started because during that Memorial Day weekend, a 19-year-old, his name was Dick Rowland, a Black shoe shiner, he had got accused of assaulting a woman by the name of Sarah Page, a white 21-year-old elevator operator that was in the Dexter apartment building. Now, you got to remember, it was straining the relationship between the whites and Black communities. The heightened jealousy of their success in that area had pissed them off, including this so-called Black shoe shiner had the nerve to disrespect one of their white women. So they came armed with all type of weapons, from knives to big semi-automatic weapons, biggest 12-gauge shotguns and AK-47s. They were white men. They had looted the area. Then they burnt down just about every important business and home over there, including churches, and they had destroyed the complete um, area of Black Wall Street and the growth of it then. Okay, now it was 300 people that were killed, and over 1,000 to 1,200 homes were destroyed. Okay, now that's the hard part of the situation, but
Lawyers for these survivors argued to the Oklahoma Supreme Court that Tulsa has to look at what the massacre survivors lost and make things right.